Lo and behold, here is Mr. Rob Skinner. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Baldemaro, and I apologize for stepping around late. I was just getting to know the panelists a little bit backstage, so that's where we were. And so the way we're going to go with this is we're going to momentarily I'll ask all the panelists to join me here on stage. I'll speak for a couple minutes about some refugee issues, and then I'm just going to ask each of them to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their story. The journeys are really interesting and fascinating. They're overcoming different kinds of issues, cultural, language, just trying to find their way. We have some quite young panelists that are still in high school, and a few that have been around a little bit longer, a little bit older, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the older ones have been here longer. But I will leave their stories to them because they're really fascinating. As I said, I haven't had a lot of chance to get to know them, but the conversations I've had the opportunity to have been really fascinating and compelling and interesting, and I'm really pleased that Baldemaro and the team around him have decided to kind of kick off the conference with this conversation, because I think it's really important. Among other things, as we're thinking about the Sustainable Development Goals and why we need to tackle them, there's nothing like lack of opportunity due to drought in agriculture, flooding in agriculture, war, all the issues that are behind the SDGs to drive the necessity for people to flee their homes, in many cases, unwillingly and without a great desire to leave. And I think you'll hear these stories from these individuals. So with that, I would like to ask my esteemed panel to join me here on stage in no particular order. Pick any chair you like, because we're all going to have the opportunity to introduce ourselves. So please give a warm welcome to this amazing group. It's great to see you all. Thanks for being willing to share your stories and come on stage and be part of this important panel. And I welcome you, and I welcome all of you on behalf of UVU, of course, who is hosting this amazing event, and the United Nations, my employer, and the team that's joined me from New York to be here. We're really pleased to be here, and as I mentioned in my opening remarks to the group, it's just amazing to be here in Utah and have such an amazing host institution as Utah Valley to be working with. But just a few thoughts on the refugee crisis. I already shared a couple. It's obviously of a concern to the United Nations. We have an entity that works specifically on refugees, the UN Refugee Agency, or UNHCR, the UN High Commission for Refugees. And they indicate as of May 22, 100 million individuals were forcibly displaced worldwide due to persecution, conflict, violence, or human rights violations. And it's part of the largest displacement on record, because an annual average of 21.5 million people, an annual average, have been forcibly displaced by weather-related sudden onset hazards, each year since 2008. So, 21.5 million a year since 2008, and those weather incidents, climate incidents, mainly floods, storms, wildfire, extreme temperature that force people to be on the move as well. And then conflict, of course, is an important and unfortunate driver of refugees as well. But the numbers are sometimes hard to comprehend and hard to fathom. They are numbers, they are statistics. And what we really want to get across and talk about today are the stories, the people behind those numbers, because they've struggled. As I indicated, many of them the term refugee means that they were forced to flee. And those are the stories that we're going to hear today from some individuals who are in that situation. So to get started, in our brief conversation backstage, I made sure everyone was comfortable with kind of telling their story a little bit, just telling us all who they are and where they're from and how they ended up in Utah. What got them here? So we're not going, they've seated themselves in no particular order, and we're just going to go across the stage and allow everyone to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves. So Starting immediately to my left. Yeah, I should have mentioned that. There are mics on all the tables, so you can pass them between yourselves.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Dona Ibrahim. I'm 27 years old, and I'm a Somali-American first-generation immigrant. And me and my family moved to America in 1999, but my father actually came here 3 years prior in 1996 because he worked for the royal family in Saudi Arabia. And so he would travel all over the globe with them. And so when he came to America, he realized just how vastly different it was from life back in Saudi Arabia, like in terms of equality, equality about race, religious equality, gender equality, and what stood out to him the most was educational equality. And so that's when he decided that he was going to raise his family here. And so I graduated from the University of Utah in 2018 with a degree in film and media arts and a minor in business. And I got hired at Cartoon Network shortly after, and I've been working there for 2 years. And I'm super passionate about media. I'm super passionate about entertainment, specifically children's entertainment, because of my unique upbringing, I want to make sure that kids that look like me and kids that grew up like me could accurately see themselves represented on camera and behind the camera. And so that's just a little bit about me, and I'll pass the mic to my left.
Hello, my name is Seyyed Ahmadi. I'm from Afghanistan. I'm 19 years old. When I was 7, I moved to Turkey with my family from Afghanistan. Due to war, that's everyone, a lot of people dying, thousands of people every day. And my parents decided to move to Turkey because of the safety issues. And I've been in Turkey for 10 years. Me and my whole family, we worked hard to just survive. Life was very difficult. When we went there, we didn't speak Turkish. We learned it. I went to school and I worked it. Since I was 7 years old, I worked every single day. And after 5 years, America accepted us, and another 5 years took to come to America. So total of 10 years, I was excited to come to America because of the life situation in Turkey. It wasn't easy. Everything was hard. And when I came to America, I was so happy. I was grateful to be here. Right now, I'm a student at Utah International Charter School. I'm a senior, and I'm a full-time student, and I'm working as a full-time. And I'm glad to be here today with you guys.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm super new here. I'm from Ukraine. I have been here only 3 months, and if you want to hear something like some sad history or something, I'm not gonna tell you anything like that. And you also can open the internet, right? So, well, yeah, and I have no idea that I'll be here in America, but I had some volunteering stuff by the Poland border, and I met one great person, which is here now. She's very supportive, and yeah, she invited me just to visit it because I told her that this is the place of my dreams because it's very far, and I actually like to travel, and I thought, what if I will visit it one day, like California and stuff? So she invited me, and it was suddenly, and I told her that I gave all my money and stuff for, for Army and helping, volunteering, and then I thought, what the hell? I just can come, and see, and if not, if something wrong, I can get back. So, yeah, I come and I realized that this area is like, I love this area. This is very good. And I just tried to figure out all this stuff, to start from over, to find a good job, get back my hobbies, and help my friends, which are fighting and protecting my country. So if you guys have any idea, just let me know. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Cheche, and I was born in Myanmar. and when I was 2 years old, there's a war in Myanmar, so my parents decided to move to Thailand, and then we lived there for 10 years. After 10 years, one of my sisters needed a surgery, so we got approved to come to the United States as a refugee, and now she got the surgery and she's happy and healthy. Also, I'm 17 years old, study at Utah International as a junior. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Silver. I'm 19 years old. I'm studying school at Utah International Charter School, and I apologize, my English is so bad. Yeah, I'm from Congo, but I've been raised in Rwanda. It's kind of complicated. My parents born in Congo, and then they exiled the country because of genocide to Rwanda, and in Rwanda I've been there for all my life, and in September 2021 I've been here in America. We did the resettlement because of hearing, and then we've been here in America. I was very excited to be here because of the history about the genocide, because of due to our people. And then now I'm free, I'm safe, I'm working, and attending school. This is great. I'm glad I'm here with you sharing the stories of being from.
Hi, before I introduce myself, I want to respect those students who lost their life last week in Afghanistan in bomb explosion, and education center is more than 53, so I want to respect and keep silent for a moment. I'm Tamim Sulhados from Afghanistan. I'm 23 years old, and I have been in the USA for a year, and I was worked for the Ministry of Defense of Afghanistan, and I was a student in Kabul University in English language literature. I left my university in last year because of bad situation in Afghanistan, and we had like more than 45 years war in Afghanistan, and every day explosion, every day firing, and we grow up in that country, and we are the most strongest people in the world. And I left Afghanistan in 30 August with the U.S. Army. I was the last person to leave Afghanistan in those bad situations. So I'm so glad to be here in peaceful environment, and now I work for the Atomic Financial Tech Company as a quality assurance associate. So, but I'm not glad because our people is not safe in Afghanistan, and my only hope and dreams is peace in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tamim, for reminding us that you're all here with us, but there's a lot of people suffering in the places that you all came from, and a lot of other places around the world, and we're fortunate to be here, and just remembering that, I think, it always is critical as we think about the circumstances that all of you have come out of. And also, I think that, Sylvan, you kind of made the understatement of the panel so far by saying that the situation is complicated. I think it's much more than complicated. It's beyond and dangerous. But I mean, your recognition and fortitude of all of you. I mean, those are just amazing stories. Of coming through difficulty to find a place here in Utah. And I will note that I'll give the audience here an opportunity to ask some questions as we go ahead and move further, but as the moderator, I'll take the prerogative to ask a couple, maybe one or two more of the panel. And again, this is one kind of for the entire group, and people can just pick up the mic as they see fit. We don't have to go in any particular order, but it's challenging to arrive someplace where you've never been. And to try and become part of a community. I just ask each of you, and it's okay if some of the answers are the same, what's been the most challenging part of arriving in the community here in Utah, from under whatever circumstances you came from? What's tough, and what would you like the folks gathered here to know about how maybe they could be supportive of what you're doing in dealing with those challenges? Anybody want to take a crack at that first?
I would like to. I'm from Afghanistan. I will support them because they don't know enough English. There was one here. I would like to, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter of Afghanistan, I want to say something about what they really mean.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is give the audience an opportunity. I'd like to stay with the panel, but thank you for offering that support, and we'll have that opportunity as we go ahead. But anybody in the group here want to talk about that a little bit? Yes, please. Yeah.
So I came 3 years ago to America. When I came here, I didn't speak English. I had zero English, and it was very difficult. I was going to school, like students and teachers talking, and I understand nothing, and it was difficult. My first year in America was, I kind of can explain that I was in depression because it was not easy, and I was crying every day after school because how I am going to learn the English, because it's difficult, people talking to you, you don't understand, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, and I think any of us who have been somewhere where we didn't speak the language and really want to understand, but particularly as you're starting school and trying to engage, Seyyed, that is truly a barrier that exists and is hard to overcome, and thanks for sharing that. Alex?
Well, I think I have the same problem. So I learned it at school, English, and I love it, this language. And so people here are so supportive. I have no idea that, like when I'm talking to some American people, they're, oh, your English is good, you're good, it's okay. Like I understand like 99% and stuff. But in school, my teacher, she every time like gives me a lower grades, like because she knew that the next day I will come and knew better and have all stuff and like do better. So yeah, it's just from my childhood period. I have a thought like I'm bad, I need to be better, and I'm worried every time when I'm like speaking English. But everyone in Europe and in my country try every time to fix you. Yeah, like this word is not truly, this word is bad. And here is like no one American will fix me. Like everyone is accepting, everyone says like you're good and stuff. This helps a lot, really. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Great, and I would say both to you, Alex, and to Seyyed, your English is great. So okay, and so amazing. Anybody else want to jump in? I mean, Tamim, you said you've been here a year. You said, and your story. You came out of an incredibly difficult circumstance from Afghanistan. After working there on behalf of the U.S. How has your adjustment been?
When I came here first time, that's a bit hard, but my English was good that time because I learned English language literature in university back home. So I first CCS, Catholic Community Services, they help us with home or house, and then that company that I work now, I learned coding academy in that company, and next year I will start in next year August. I will start IT computer science in Salt Lake Community College. I will start, and I'm really excited about that. So the first time when I came here, I was a translator for those students who were new, like those refugees who came new in the United States in Horizontal Instruction and Training Center. So I was translated the teacher lessons for the Afghan refugee, and I help other refugees with the computer stuff. And I was work there for like volunteers, and after that. I help a lots of refugees with the drive license. So my most the important things for me is helping. The only things that make me happy is helping people, and I wish that in future I help all the world. Thank you.
No, thank you, Tamim. No, thank you. It's amazing how quickly you've adjusted and all the things you're doing, and offering that ongoing support is incredible for others. Chit, if I could turn to you, if that's okay. I mean, you have you're notably the youngest of our esteemed panelists here. Maybe you have some insight of what it's like to be in high school and adjusting to high school in the U.S. after arriving.
Okay, so I came to United States 2019, and then it was really hard when I first entered the school. Zero English, and then it was difficult to ask my friend to translate for me every time the teacher said something, and then they would get mad because I asked too much to them to translate for me. And then I also learned fast. After 1 year, I know a lot of English already then.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's amazing. And so then you're also in high school and in moving through, and I mean your journey from DRC to Rwanda to here and in landing. I mean, completely. I mean, I think it's safe to say a relatively culturally different place. How has your adjustment been?
I arrived in Utah in September 2021, and then I came directly. I gone to international school. It was hard. That time I can't understand the people what they're saying, but to express my thoughts, it was hard. I don't know why. I used to writing instead of speaking. That was very difficult for me. But right now, I'm trying to speak in people so they can listen to me. But still, my accent is totally bad. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. The journey was difficult to me because there's still refugees in Rwanda. They've been 25 years in the refugee camp, but we got a chance to move to America. Yeah, it was difficult. It's too tough to get that chance to come here. So that's it. I think.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. And Donna, I haven't forgotten about you down here. You spoke first, and then it's been a little while. Any thoughts on this? I mean, you're working. It seems like you have a successful career and are doing very well. How has your progression been to that position in getting there? As you indicated, you want to make sure that opportunities are there for others that look like you, and I'd like to hear you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so since I did grow up here, I moved here when I was 3 years old, but I moved to Utah in 2000, and it wasn't as diverse as it is today. So because of that, I felt like an outcast, and for a very long time, I was very ashamed of my identity and where I came from. And so, when I got hired at Cartoon Network, that insecurity turned into an imposter syndrome. And throughout my 2 years, they were incredible working at Cartoon Network, but at the same time, it was super hard because I just felt like I didn't belong. I didn't deserve to have a seat at the writers' table because up until the beginning of this year, I was the only person of color on the writers' room, and so I would like go into meetings with like top executives and just feel like I didn't belong. And then it wasn't until I sat down with this insecurity and realized that I could like flip it into something positive. I always had thoughts like, you know what, so what if I'm the only immigrant, Black, Muslim person of color in the writer's room? I'm going to use that to my advantage because I had a unique perspective to share in the room that nobody else had. And once I became comfortable in my own skin and became comfortable with my identity, that's when I blossomed into this new creator where I was able to pitch incredible projects that all centered around bringing representation in the writer's room. And that took a very long time, to accept myself for who I am, but I'm very proud to say today that I am a proud first-generation immigrant, and I'm excited to be the first person of color in the writer's room, and I hope that I'm not the last, and that's why the work that I do it's so important to me to be able to give everyone a room, give everyone a door to the writer's room, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that makes complete sense. I mean, the strength, through diversity and opening those doors and breaking those barriers and we all belong, right? We all deserve the opportunity to belong, that's for sure. In thinking about that, and this is a bit of a tricky question, I'll admit. I mean, I'm sure that all of you have faced some sort of adversity as you transitioned into the U.S. And there are misconceptions and ideas about refugees coming into not just the U.S., but in any country that they're moving into. I mean, have any of you noticed what some of those like misconceptions or misperceptions might be about your arrival here and why you're here or the way you're treated? I mean, are you noticing any issues with that, and what might those be? And what would you like to correct around what people might think? Yeah, please, Tamim.
So I wrote something because I don't want to forget something. And living in Afghanistan is, for me, is living in the hell. Children forced for work to help their families financially, and they can't do education, and a lot of children are in bad time now. And in one of province, and now in Ghor province, people sell their kids because they don't have food, they are hungry. And Afghanistan's protracted conflicts abruptly ended after the Taliban took control of the country in August 2021. Women's rights advancements and media freedom among the foremost achievements of the post-2001 reconstruction effort were immediately reserved by the Taliban. Several secondary schools for the girls were closed, and women were prohibited from working in many government jobs. Many media outlets closed or drastically scaled back their reporting, partly because many journalists fled the country. The Taliban beat and detained journalists, women, and ministers from outside the Taliban's ranks were not included in the reformed Taliban cabinet. It was not uncommon for the Taliban to search for, threaten, and sometimes detain or execute former Afghan National Security Forces members, former government officials, or their family members in many cities. On August 15, 2021, thousands of Afghans tried to flee Kabul or Afghanistan, but chaos and violence at the airports prevented them from evacuating because of lost income, cash shortages, and rising food prices. And during the 6 months before the takeover, improvised explosive device, mortars and airstrikes caused a sharp rise in civilian casualties. The schools and mosques were attacked by the Islamic State of Khorasan, the Afghan branch of Islamic State Khorasan, as known as ISKP, targeting the minority Hazara Shia population. After the Taliban's victory, millions of Afghans faced several severe food insecurity, transforming Afghanistan from a humanitarian crisis to a catastrophe. Recognizing the Taliban as support terrorists, and recognizing the Taliban is in fact recognizing terrorists because they are killed millions of people. As September 11, 2001 shows, the terrorist groups threaten the world's peace and security in the United Nations, and the international community do not deal with them. So our people now is in a bad situation. They don't have food. They are all killed. I feel so sad. Because we are human. If we feel pain in our one finger, we will feel pain in our whole body. So the world is the same like this. Everyone is human. It's not matter where we are from. We are all human. We are same. If one of persons endure, if one of persons kills, we are all feel pain. So now millions of Afghans are insecure. I feel that, and I just want to say, Afghanistan people are also human. Afghanistan people are also human. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Tameen, and yeah, it's one human family, and we should all recognize that. And I can say that I have UN colleagues still working in Afghanistan, trying to be supportive and work through the situations there, which is very challenging, as you've just laid out. And the situation is very dire in terms of the food scarcity and insecurity, and really, really, really difficult circumstances. And thanks for bringing that home with that statement. Anyone else want to share some, what your thoughts on, misconceptions that you might be facing as you continue to integrate, and become part of the community here? Donna?
Yeah. I will say one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about refugees and immigrants is that people think that we're lazy and unmotivated, and I hear that a lot, but that's clearly not the case, because we all know how the grass is on the other side, and it's definitely not greener. And the fact that we got the opportunity to come to this country and build the framework of our lives from the ground up, that kind of person wouldn't be lazy and unmotivated. We are some of the most hardworking people, some of the most passionate people, and we are probably a little bit overly ambitious, so I've heard. But we all contribute to society just as everyone else, and maybe even a bit more because of the background that we were in, and we don't want anyone else to suffer like us. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest misconception that people have about us.
Yeah, and the stories from all of you definitely belie any of that misconception that you talked about, Donna. I mean, the stories of coming through the other side and being here, it shows true commitment just in getting to that point. Just curious, I'm getting ready to open it up to the floor a little bit, but does anybody else want to react to this first? Yeah, yes, Sylvan.
When I was first safe, I have a person who inspired me. He's my dad friend. He was my teacher in my country at 6th and 7th grade. And then he got a scholarship from, I don't know the guy who gave him this scholarship, but he got a scholarship to Harvard. After he graduated at Harvard, he been, I don't know how he get to, now he's a refugee representative in UN. He called Mondia Dagan, and then he started talking about how life is in refugee camps, and I feel, why me? Now I'm safe. I can start talking about refugee stuff and more like that. And he started supporting the refugees to come here in America and study. And I feel like I'm gonna start doing that stuff when I got like money or got scholarship or study, have good career, start that project. It was very inspiring me. And then he has a book which is full of information where we lived. And it's very inspired and motivation words in it. I would like everyone to reach on that book because he's already published it. It's full of information. When I read it, or listening to what he posted on YouTube, I feel like this is my life. This is what we've been through. And then I say, our people in refugee camp back in our country, they can't say the truth of what been through. Because if you're gonna say the truth, you're gonna be ended in jail or being executed by government, I don't know. And they stay there and quiet and get help from HCR, stuff like that. So when I came here, I say, I'm gonna be like a speaker, trying to be a speaker, because here is kind of safe. But I don't know, but I will try. And I say, this will be a good thing to our people. They don't have that chance to come as I did, or they will come again. But we are being separated, some going to other countries, others to America. We are being separated. But it was like one tribe in Congo, and then because of genocide, because of the tribe killed another tribe, and then we exiled the Congo, and then we came in Rwanda. They've been there, this year it is 26 years in refugee. It's crazy. That's where people can become traumatic, stuff like that. But they're trying hard to do good thing, because when you're a refugee in the country, you can't get a job. When you can't get government scholarship either. You're just staying there. The non-government, I don't know how to say, but waiting for help, stuff like that, and it's so scary. People living in their house, you can't pay their house. You just live in that house, and they're waiting for the merits for the non-government organization, stuff like that. And they're waiting for resettlement in other countries so you can get to work or study well. These kind of things. So I think that's all.
Yeah, thank you, Sylvain. And I can say you're already achieving a lot by being inspiring yourself and doing so much like your friend. And thanks for directing us to that book. And we'll try and get the specifics on that as well for everyone. But yeah, and you also raised an interesting issue about in the camps or as refugees, the uncertainty of what's going to happen next, right? You just don't know how long you're going to be there, what the possibilities are, when you might be able to move to a more permanent location, and that's really challenging. And talking to my colleagues at the refugee agency, UNHCR, that's one of the biggest difficulties, other than the trauma that so many have been through, is just the idea that when will there be resettlement and when will there be ability to move. So thanks for sharing that, because I think that's a really important part of the story. Given the number of years that some of you spent as refugees in other places before coming to Utah. With that, I will open the floor. Do we have microphones that we can move around? Okay. All right. Fantastic. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Great. I should have known there would be great support at UVU for all these kinds of things. So anyway, the only thing I'd ask is please be brief. And if you can, please ask a question. And if you have a question for a specific member of the panel, please direct it at them. And also, if you'd identify yourself in what university you're with or organization you're with, that would be great as well. Before we came on stage, the group asked, who's in the audience? Who are we talking to? And I try to explain as best I can as being part of the conference here, the Why It Matters conference. But I think it would be great for them to know who's here and interested in their stories as well. So, a question right up front here. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Sejinja, and I'm the co-chair for Utah Valley University Refugee Initiative. And this topic is very passionate to me and some of our delegation here, so we're so excited for you guys to be here. Question for you, as you navigate your career path, what would you like to see a university like ours, which is the largest university here in Utah, do for you as a freshman at college or as a student preparing to come to college? Thank you.
All right. Donna, I think that's to you, yeah.
Oh, that's to me. That's a really good question. So I went to the University of Utah, and so since I'm in animation, I realized that and it's like a relatively new program at the University of Utah, and I realized that there wasn't a very strong community of animators there, specifically a community for people of color, like creators, people of color. There wasn't a strong community for that. So it would be great if we could create initiatives and groups to, bring together people who are passionate about entertainment, media, and the arts. It would be great to have a program for that, like probably an after-school program, like after-class program. That would be great, because in this field, it's not only is it extremely competitive, everybody has that artistic side to them, so everybody can be an artist, so that's why it's extremely competitive. So it's great to bring together people who are equally passionate about the same subject, and to, to make our art better, I guess, to create portfolios and stuff like that. So I would definitely say create programs for people who are in the field, who want to get into the field for sure.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'm going to steal that question and ask a couple of the other panelists a little bit, because I think it's an interesting question possibly for the Utah International Charter School students about what they would like to see if they would enter a school like Utah Valley, and what would be helpful to them. So I don't know, Seyyed, what would be helpful to you as you enter university, if that's the direction you're going to take?
Can you explain the question a little bit more?
Yeah, the question was, if at a university, Utah Valley or any university, but this one was specifically Utah Valley, what would be most helpful to you going in there? You're prepared, you're getting ready to graduate from high school, and moving ahead. If you were to enter a university, what could the university do to help support you as you try to integrate into the university?
I think they can help us financially with the scholarships. Most of the people who comes as a refugee, usually they don't have money, and so by scholarship, offering them a scholarship, like a more competitive, scholarships to make them get educated, that will be better.
No, great. Sylvan or Chit, do you have any thoughts as you maybe move in that direction?
I just want to have somebody that I can talk to and ask help for. Yeah.
I'm new here. I don't know many things about UVU, but I would like to know more about it, because when I'm done high school, I'm gonna directly to university or college. Yeah, I'm doing with that to know which career I'm going through, so I can start dealing with what university offer that. So I don't know many things about the universities. I'm still working on that. about big to a big grades when I got scholarship like to UV or University of Utah. I'm still trying to find out.
Great, thank you. And I'm turning again to looking into the audience. I see multiple hands in okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, apologies. I was looking to the audience and did stop looking at the panel.
I just got my work permit, and we visit one school so my experience in Ukraine was about like beauty sphere, like piercing, massage, nails, hair and stuff. Like I have a 10 years experience, and it's kind of hard to find here a school. And I asked them, hey guys, can I make a test and get a license? Because I can work and I can teach somebody. We have other instruments, other way how to do that, like other service. And they tell me that I need to study like 4 months to get options just to work, to study like a couple years and have experience for a couple years to have option to teach. And I was like, hey, I have 10 years experience and I can teach you, okay? And yeah, that's kind of hard because I'm still looking for how I can get a license, and also how I can get back the option to teach, to work, maybe to be owner of the salon in this good area because I really like it. And actually, I was doing like a couple different ways in Ukraine, like athlete, like a master of sport in bodybuilding. I worked in the gym and the salon and the office, like very different ways. So I just want to develop my skills and try something new and have options with the salon, And it's super hard here because American, they don't care about their experience and about your driver's license, which are good for a long time. They need you to get their own, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. The mysteries of licensing requirements in various fields, always a challenge for all of us. You're not alone. Okay, I think I had pointed right here in the middle to the woman in the whitish jacket. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah. And sorry for being so poor in identifying that way.
Thank you.
Descriptions.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First, I want to congratulate the panel. I think it's been very enlightening to listen to their diverse experience, and also sad in many ways to have this conversation, because it's, like you mentioned, all the global estimates. It's just unprecedented and strikingly upsetting. I'm Rebecca Rios-Cohn with Arigato International. We are an NGO that works for children's rights, and we work globally, and we do this by mobilizing faith communities and collaborating with faith communities, all faith communities all over the world, to protect children's rights. So I have 2 questions. The first one is, how do the panelists, how do you see your futures? What is your legal status in the US? And who or what organization has helped you to regularize your status or to facilitate your life in the US? That's my first question. And my second question is, do you identify with any particular faith? And has that given you any support in your journey and in your facing the many obstacles? And finally, I just want to say before you answer, we annually do a World Day of Prayer and Action for Children, and it's always commemorated on the 20th of November, because that was the day that the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child was adopted. And so everything we do is guided by the principles and standards of an international human rights instrument. I say that because that's very important to understanding how we work. Thank you.
No, thank you for the questions. There were 2 questions, but the first one was kind of a compound question with a couple in there. And I thought, so it was How do you see your futures? What was the biggest part? And then there was and I would say to the panelists, answer what you're comfortable with in terms of some of the questions because the second question is legal status, which organizations helped you, and then if you identify with a faith. So I think those are the questions, and I think you can answer as panelists as much or as little as any of them. But I think they're great questions for the group to take on, I think. And anyone want to go first? Yes. Tamin.
So the first question, like what I see in my future, like I talking about all refugees, all Afghan refugees, about 100,000 Afghans. They are flee Afghanistan and came in the USA. They don't know their futures because they don't have documentation in here, and they came as a humanitarian peril, and also Congress has not signed the paper for the immigration of those people. They just have legally, they have 2 years to live in the USA. So how they start education? If they don't have documentation, if they don't know what will happen after 2 years. So I think we don't know about our future. Afghanistan people never know about their futures. Yeah. So the second question, can you repeat?
Please go ahead. The second question was, basically I would say, how does faith impact your journey, and if you identify with a faith was the second question, and also which organization supported your move here, if that's helpful.
Yeah. So there's two organizations, like three. Sorry. The ones is like Catholic Community Services. They help a lot of refugees and also refugee centers. And the other ones is, I forgot the name, sorry. So they help a lot of refugees with the education, and example, the refugee centers called me about a week. They told me you can do education for free next year, and we will support you for that. And I was so excited that time, and I'm also excited now. So yeah, so American people are really helpful people. I wish they help again Afghanistan, especially U.S. Army. I'm really thankful from the U.S. Army because they bring 100,000 people. They saved their 100,000 people life, and yeah, that's all.
No, thank you. Yeah, and because it's important to note, and that's why I think the question is important. There's so many organizations that are doing such incredible work to be supportive of refugees, and we should all recognize that. There's the challenges, but there's great people and organizations out there. Would anybody else like to go on these questions? Yeah, Sylvan. Maybe we'll kind of come from that direction toward this direction.
Yeah. My future started in my country. But when we call it secondary schools, start from 10th grade, but in our country called a senior 4. And I got scholarship from a non-profit organization which called Impact Hub. Is non-profit government of from here, America. It's called Impact Hub. They help a lot the refugees. They got me a scholarship, and then I started in boarding school for 2 years. I was almost done the high school. Now I come here, but when I come here, the scholarship was ended. But they were promised me if I done high school in there, they give me scholarship to university in my country. I was about to start about civil engineering. And now I'm studying here in high school. I'm going to be like, I'm trying to learn about math and science because I want to be civil engineering. That's like my future goal I want to be. And then I want to help those refugees as me in my country to get a scholarship like that, or can be a member of that non-profit government organization, like one who gave me the scholarship in my country, so I can be a member of them, help the students as well as they help me too. And I came here as a permanent resident, and we have organization in my country which help them. I don't know how it's connected. It's called IAM. It's work with the UN. And then when I came here, I help with the ERC, International Rescue Community. And that's how I came here, and then that's my future and my legal to be here in America. Is it the third question, Nadim?
No, that's good. And then there was the faith question as well. And if you feel comfortable answering that, if that's something you want to explore. So.
Oh God.
Yeah, and Sylvan, you note something that I should reference as well, is that the UN is working all over the world, my colleagues, but they're doing their work through the support of NGOs on the ground, as you referenced, the NGOs that are in country, in Rwanda, for example. We're there. There are lots of heroes with NGOs out there as well doing this work. So, Chichit, I see you have the mic.
Okay. So I see my future as after graduating, I went to go to college, and then I want to become a physician assistant. But I see my future is clear, but sometimes we think of my cousin that still live in Myanmar. Some of them had to go to military when they're like 15, 16. And then the Burmese soldier would burn their house, and they had to hide in the jungle. But it's very hard for those children. They're so young. My family is the only family that got to come here. The rest of them is still there. It's really sad. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, and that's very sad, and to know that the rest of the others didn't make it out and are still there. So I'm sure you're spending a lot of time thinking about them. I'm sure. Yeah. All right, Alex, were you going to respond at all?
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you about the children's, and stuff, and yeah. Since the war started, more than 300 Ukrainian kids, they died. It's official news, so that means that it's much more. So, yeah, I'm praying for them and for also people who died and for my friends who are fighting as well. So thank you, I appreciate it. And I have a decision from government to stay here for 2 years. So I would like to share with my experience and my knowledges in beauty stuff, to be owner of the salon, that my little dream, when the woman can came and get a lot of stuff, and go out very happy and pretty. So, and yeah, I need to make some money for education because I would love to study in some university and to get some new knowledges and experience, in the computer maybe. I would like to learn this stuff, like IT sphere maybe, not to write the programs, but maybe communicate with the people, something like that. Yeah, and just got back some hobbies, like horses, skydiving, and also I would like to work with somebody who is doing some volunteering stuff for Ukraine, because I have lots of pictures and lots of friends who are fighting, so I would like to make some money, some donations, and to have options to buy some stuff and send it to Ukraine, because Ukrainian guys appreciate and love lots of American stuff. It's a high quality, super cool. So yeah, and we really appreciate and thank you guys, all of American people, for that stuff and help. Thank you.
Great. And Seyyed, I don't know if you want to respond at all, and we can make it all the way across the.
I can respond to the first question.
Please.
I see a great future for myself. As I said, I'm glad to be here, and America gave me an option to educate myself, and education is very important. And 10 years from now, I think I'm gonna be a way better person and knowledgeable person, and probably I can help some other refugees and just tell them how great is America and how much option you have for your future.
Great, thank you, thank you. You're doing great already, so I can only imagine in 10 years where you'll be, I'm sure. So, Donna, I don't know if you want to respond. I mean, you're, as I said earlier, in your career doing very well, but I'm sure there were maybe some folks along the way or organizations along the way that helped.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a specific organization that I would like to highlight that has been so instrumental in my college career, and that's the One Refugee initiative. And I don't know if Michelle Conley is here, but One Refugee has been so amazing to me. They give me so many resources, like financial resources, other types of resources, and organizations like yours as well prove time and time again that when refugees and immigrants are given equal opportunities of access to resources and such like that, we can all do and be great people and do great things. And so I would just like to say thank you to One Refugee, and yeah.
Great, thank you. I think we've made it all the way across. The questions all are coming from the middle, and I'm sorry, my back is turned here. I can't see the hat, the gentleman in the hat, yeah.
Oh, no. Oh.
Hi. This is actually my first semester here at UVU, and I've been loving it. It's been fantastic. I didn't actually know you guys were coming out, that the UN was coming to UVU until like last week. But I did have just one question for you guys. How do you feel the advent of modern technology has influenced your experience and journey as a modern refugee?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Yeah, How has technology impacted how you're moving in terms of information movement? It's a great question. I would not know how to answer that. So I'm hoping somebody on the panel does. Yeah. Anybody, just grab a mic and start talking.
Can you repeat one time the question?
Yeah. Please, if you could repeat the question. I'm sorry, the mic moved. It had to do with technology and refugee movements, but I don't want to get it wrong.
How do you feel like modern technology has influenced your journey and experience as a modern refugee?
The modern technology is in every country is different, and United States is the most higher technology in the world, and it's really I like to learn more about technology, yeah. Technology in the United States is very good, and I'm really excited to, in next year, I will learn something about technology in here. And it's completely new things for us, And so when you face the new things, it's really a good feeling, and it's very good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if I can, Sylvan, do you mind if I ask that question to you? I mean, because you have moved relatively recently and came out of a refugee situation, a camp, I guess, would be much more what people would think of, although it's not necessarily the case, a more traditional case. Did you have access to technology when you were in Rwanda? Did you have access to a mobile phone, computer that would help you know more about what your circumstances were?
Yeah, we do have a technology, but it's not like America. We have cell phones and stuff and other technology. I don't know how to mention all of this, but I've been in the school. I can say about technology in the school. In the school, we used to study in theory because we don't have the materials to do practice. Like I can talk about how to I don't know how to say in English, but it's the process of giving birth. I can show in the theory and then say I never see how to do it in practical, or to do on an animal, I don't know. I can give you another example on microscope. All the parts on microscope, I know all the parts and how it works, but I never go on it to see how it works or how to see like small insects, and some viruses. I don't know, because of shortage in technology and materials in the schools. That's the big problem. But the basic things in technology we do have, and there is the schools which have the high technology. You can do practice, but those schools was for like ministers with higher wealth or high with the people who has higher wealth or money. Those go in those schools, but we have technology. It's not like America. And then when I got here, I say, I start looking at those Microsoft. I say, what? I don't know anything. I thought I knew many things about technology, but when I see physically, I say, oh, I don't know anything about it. Just theory is way different to practical. That's the biggest thing in technology. It was difficult for me, and even to express my thoughts on it. That's what I can say. Here, there is a lot of technology going on.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think that the one thing that the UN and our colleagues, particularly in the private sector, some of the private sector partners are working on is this technology gap, to making sure that there's connectivity globally so that there is greater equality in access to technology. But I would suspect, and everyone can just say yes, I suspect that the technology that you have here is allowing you to stay in contact with your family, friends, and coworkers back home where you came from. I mean, I assume that's correct, yes?
Yeah, we can communicate because many people has the cell phone. When I was there, I was having cell phone. For essential technology, we do have like cell phone. I do have cell phone, smartphone. That one you can touch on, has touch screen. I used to have it, but it depends of how your income is or how you get the money. Because I used to have many relatives in here, they gave me money and then I bought it. But most of refugees, there is many refugees and they don't have the phone. Like most of the parents, the uneducated people, they don't have the phone. They don't know how to use it. Because our tribe, they was in Congo without no technology. They used to rearing the cattle, growing the crops. That's all, and then and they move because they have a lot of lands, like a mountain. Because my parents told me that they used to have a land, a big mountain of them, and used to rear the cattle, and they get the milk, stuff like that, get the crops they planted. They didn't want to use a phone, but because my dad was educated person, the only thing told me he was having a radio, because to listen to how the genocide is going on, because he is the leader in the area. He's one who told them we need to move away because those the people did genocide. They're coming closer, and then told them to move away because he was having the radio, so he know all the information news going on. Because it was only one channel going on, or for the people to communicate. But they didn't have phone. And then it used to be like, it's like traditional stuff. But because of my dad, I don't know how he started, because he had deep problem in Congo, and also he had deep problem in Rwanda. So it's kind of complicated. It's a big story. I don't know how to express it. It can take long and long. Still now it's still going on. There is like a party of our tribe. They fighting to get their rights. They want their people to free to Congo, because they are still in camps in Rwanda, and they're still fighting to get in the Congo, because the government of Congo, they say you are not citizen of Congo. The first thing, you look like Rwandans, you speak the language of Rwandan. I say, what? The government, I took the government as like ignorance or idiots, because I say, how the less does it show that you are not the member of the country, you are not a citizen? Because we've been in Rwanda like 20 years to 26, that's why you say we are Rwandans. We speak the Rwandan language because we've been there for a long time. But our parents, our grandparents, they speak all the languages. Like my dad speak like 5 languages: French, Kiswahili, Lingala, Little English, and Kinyarwanda. But me, I can only speak Kinyarwanda, little bit English. Also, I can understand Kiswahili because I didn't been in the Congo. It's complicated stuff. Right now, they're still fighting for going to their motherland, but didn't work. Still now they're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Sylvan. Yeah, it's a incredibly challenging, ongoing situation, and that is an issue of, once you've been in a camp somewhere for so long, where can you go back? We have 5 minutes left, and there was a question here, but it doesn't look like on this side, and I wanted to be fair to this section over here, but I think the person may have stepped away who has the question. I see one more. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, then we're going to go to you. Sorry. We have to cover travel. I should take the microphone because it's a lot closer. And so I think this will be the last question, and it's here.
Thank you all very much for sharing your stories with us. And my question for you is, if there is one thing that you could tell every person who has grown up in peace and safety, if there's one thing you can tell them, what would that be?
I really love that question, because that was going to be my last question, and now it's covered. So that was perfect. Thank you. So that will really be the last question, because I won't ask one. So please, what would you like people to know that have grown up in security about the situation?
Can you ask? I don't know what was the question.
Please, is the microphone still there? Because I always want to get the question right, even though I love the question.
If you could tell one thing to people who have grown up in peace, what would that be?
Oh, okay. So I give you one example. Children can't went to the kindergarten when I was back home because of there was work. And the children in here, in the peaceful environment, they can go kindergarten and they can grow up well, they can go to school, they can go university, every people like. So we growing up ourselves by force, what? Because every time you don't know what will happen when you go outside of the home, when you go to school, when you go to job, when you go to university. Every day explosion, every day my mental state was not good. In that situation, we learn new things. We do education in that situation, so in the peace, peace is a beautiful name. I came when the Christmas happened. I came in the United States and I saw a brightness tree, and it's like when you came from the war place to the brightness tree, and this was amazing feeling. Now I don't hear explosion voice and sounds in my ear. I am safe. I can go outside anytime, and I can do anything. I am in the freedom place. I am a freedom person. Everyone is freedom. I see women and men. Everyone is in the freedom place, in the peace place. No one can force anyone. No one can touch anyone no one everyone can do anything in the peace. So the most important things is in the world is peace. And one of my job mates asked me everyone ask each other, what's your dream? What's your dream? What's your dream? They told I want to have a house in future. I want to have a best car. I want to have that. They asked me, what's your dream? I told them, my dream is peace in the world. This is my only dream in my life, peace in the world. So we do education. Why? Because of peace, because of change, something good in the world. And this is my answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamin. Yeah, please, maybe we can just move this direction again. And I hate to do it, but I have to ask all the panelists to answer quickly because we are at time. So thank you, but we do want to hear from everybody.
The only thing I can share, we was in good situation. I mean my parents, because the one who saw that massacre, that genocide, but they was in good peace, safely. The one thing I can share to you, you don't know how tomorrow will be. We didn't plan that genocide will be. We saw people dying. We don't know why, and can say the people have peace. Just remember that there are people right there who don't know. Who they don't know how the peace is. They've been through the wars, people killed, stuff like that. Just pray for them. Make sure you think about them. If you have anything to do for them, just do something to change that thing, because it happens it can happen to America, I don't know, or another country, to be insecurity or have bad government, I don't know. Like in Ukraine, we didn't plan that the war will be like that. We didn't plan. But the one thing I can tell you, just pray for them. Give some donations or good thoughts to them so they can feel good a little bit, but the little bit can change something. That's what I can say to that.
Great, thank you, Sylvan. Chit.
I want to talk about my experience of technology. So basically, there was time back in Thailand. I have 8 siblings and then 2 parents. So 2 of my older sisters, they're about 24 and 22. They went to Bangkok to get a job, and then there was no cell phone, none of us. So to talk to them, my dad had to borrow one of his friend's phone, and then we have to go to the mountain. The higher the internet is, the better, right? So had to walk all up in the mountain, and then so we could talk to them. We could barely hear them. And then we also want to talk to the cousin that's left in the Burmese. They also have no internet, because it's very rare. We're like Korean people. I don't know if you guys heard that, Korean people. So yeah, it's so hard to talk to them. So these days, they have to come up to the mountain and talk to us. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you, Chichit. Yeah, and that's getting that better connectivity is so critical. Alex.
Okay, what if I say? First, I think I will ask other people like why you don't choose that. I will say thank you. I will say I love it and I choose it actually because I'm here now. And I will say like don't take a peace and security from granted. So.
Yes, it can change very quickly. Yeah.
I just want to be short. So I just want to thank my old teacher in my high school because they supported me a lot. And I want to say peace in America. America is great. There is peace in America. I just want to say peace at home, peace in the world.
Great. Thank you, Seyyed. And Dona, you had the first word, and it looks like you're going to have the last.
So I would just say be kind to everyone. You never know the situation that someone was in, and kindness really does go a really long way. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I think that's a great word to end on, kindness. Let's all take care of each other and take care of each other as communities. But what I really want to do is thank this amazing group of young people who have shared their stories, and I don't really have anything else to say. They've said it all. So let's just give them all a big round of applause. They really deserve it. Okay, Dona, you're not getting the last word.
I want to say something, and I think we are end of it. I want to say something like, just want to say, don't recognize from the I want from United Nations, don't recognize Taliban because they killed a lot of millions of people. They are terrorists. If the United Nations recognizing Taliban, it means they're recognizing terrorists. Thank you so much.
Again, a big round of applause for all the panelists. I mean, really amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.